5 shocking traps keeping you from spiritual ascension at 3 a.m. Discover the truth now. The clock struck 3. Darkness clung to the corners of the room, and a chill snaked its way down Emma's spine. She wasn't just awake. She was alive in a world woven with secrets, cries echoing in the night. Each ticking second painted the air electric with anticipation. What if tonight was the night everything changed? What if the spiritual world called to her in whispers only she could hear? As Emma took a shaky breath, she thought of the stories she'd heard. 5 traps, each one more sinister than the last, lurking in the shadows just waiting for someone like her. Each trap was designed to hold back the souls from ascending to greater heights. Heated murmurs filled her mind. One trap could suck you in with promises of enlightenment, only to trap you deeper. Another trap thrummed with a seductive charm, offering experiences that would peel layers of your consciousness, yet leave you hollow. What terrors lurked behind them? What shadows kept watch, waiting to strike? Heart racing, she recalled chilling moments from others who fled from their paths. I felt them, a friend once said. Their icy fingers wrapping around my heart, squeezing tighter with every prayer. The uncertainty gnawed at Emma, her pulse pounding like a drum in a silent parade. She had to know. Was she standing on the very brink of these lurking malevolences? But what about the otherworldly beings? Those horrible apparitions that danced through dreams and lingered in the corners of your vision? Would they materialize tonight to snuff out her flame of desire for knowledge? Cold sweat dripped down her back as chilling thoughts rolled through her mind like thunder. What if she wasn't alone? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Emma's thoughts spiraled into chaos. Could she really face what was waiting in the dark? The shadows felt thicker, heavier, closing in on her skin. Suddenly, the floor creaked ominously. Her heart stuttered. Was it paranoia, or did the air grow colder? She stood frozen, a lump in her throat, straining to peer into the veil of night. What if this was it? What if she unlocked the doorway to those traps? What lay beyond? Would she find answers? Or the soul-sucking despair of failure? The stillness stretched on, anticipation crackling like lighting in the air. Emma took a shaky step towards the door, breath caught in her lungs. The deep night held an invitation. She could embrace it or flee. But fear, oh, it dripped from her fingertips like ice. What awaited her when she crossed that threshold? The fine line between enlightenment and destruction blurred like mist, baiting her with an ethereal call. Would she heed the whispers of the unseen? Or would they consume her whole? The door groaned as Emma pushed it open, an eerie sound that echoed like a warning throughout the stillness of her home. Ice formed in her veins, yet curiosity yanked at her fiercely. There it was, the hidden world she had always craved, cloaked in shadows and mystery, promising to reveal both wisdom and peril. Her breath quickened, and she stepped into the corridor, eyes wide, scanning for movement. The air thickened around her, almost constricting like a vice. She hesitated, heart pounding against her ribcage. The stories she had heard whispered warnings, shadows lurking, waiting for the unwary. But she had come too far to turn back now. A soft murmur slid through her consciousness, speaking of secrets just waiting to unfurl. Emma inched forward, clutching her phone with trembling fingers, flashlight illuminating the dark hallway like a hesitant beacon in the vast nothingness. Each creak of the house felt like a fracture in reality. Then the temperature dipped further, and her breath clouded. The darkness whispered her name. It wasn't just her imagination. The shadows were alive, pulsating with something more than just silence. They wanted to pull her in, to drown her in their depths. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught her eye at the end of the hall. A figure unformed and wavering like heat haze. Fear gripped her throat. Is someone there? She called out, her voice tremulous, the words sounding foreign in the chill. The figure danced back, retreating as if testing her resolve. Emma felt the heat of exhilaration surge within her, driven by the primal instincts to chase, to discover. She followed boisterous footsteps pounding like war drums against the silence, daring the shadows to reveal the secrets they concealed. The figure flitted from room to room, always just beyond her reach. And as she walked, the walls began whispering too. Secrets jammed together like jigsaw pieces, jarring yet tantalizing. They spoke of trap one, the mask of false enlightenment. A trap that devoured ambitious souls at the promise of truth. Emma could feel her heart racing, each beat urging her deeper into the mysterious labyrinth. The whispers grew louder, mingling with tragic tales of those who dared to ascend and failed. Here was where hope crumbled to dust. "Will you join them?" they asked sweetly, and she could almost feel their cold breath on her skin. Fear closed in, an unbearable weight as shadows conspired on the fringes of her vision. She fought against the panic rising in her chest. "I'm not afraid," she shouted defiantly. But as she shouted, the energy around her shifted. There was a surge of force propelling her forward, drawing her into a dark threshold. The next trap lay ahead and she felt it, pulsating like a heartbeat, the trap of the siren song. Alluring and filled with promises yet heavy with despair. Emma was teetering on the edge of understanding what lay beyond. She had to decide. Would she plunge deeper into the lures of the traps? Or would she escape? The ground seemed to quake beneath her, shadows swirling with intent. The gravity of the moment bore down on her. What if she didn't make it back? What if she lost everything? As she took another step forward, something cold and firm wrapped around her ankle. Emma gasped, jerked backward, and her heart dropped. She was no longer just a seeker. She was a target, and as she struggled against the pull of darkness, a chilling thought struck her. If she fell into one trap, would she ever escape? The shadows drew closer, lunging at her resolve, and the whispers escalated to ominous screams as the house convulsed around her. What would her next move be? Would she risk it all, or would she run? The answer awaited in the grip of the abyss, and she was poised to find out. The cold grip around Emma's ankle tightened, a vice of shadows pulling her into the icy depths of darkness. Panic surged, drowning her senses. She fought, muscles straining against the pressure, heart racing. "No, let me go!" she screamed, desperation clawing at her throat. But the darkness had a hunger of its own, eager to consume her. She stumbled, almost losing her footing. In a final surge, Emma dropped to the ground, fingers digging into the floor. The cold wooden floorboards bit into her palms as she struggled, each splinter a reminder of the stakes at play. Panic clenched at her chest, mixing with a flare of determination. With one last desperate heave, she twisted her body and kicked, her foot connecting with something solid in the shadows. A grunt echoed deeper in the hallway, and the pressure on her ankle released just enough for her to push herself free. She rolled away, gasping for breath, heart pounding like a war drum. Crouched in the darkness, she steadied herself, eyes darting around. The air shimmered like heat rising off asphalt, distorting her surroundings. The figure flickered back into view, a shadow, teasing, just a flicker of movement, leading her deeper into the embrace of the house. Emma's thoughts raced, cycling through her options. The whispers turned into a cacophony, urging her to follow. "Leave this place," a voice shrieked, the sound scraping against Emma's ears. Remembering the trap and its seductive lure, she hesitated. "Do you believe in freedom, Emma?" rasped another voice, dripping with malice. "Are you willing to sacrifice for it?" The darkness thickened, wrapping around her like a shroud. She took a deep breath, gathering her courage. What would it mean to dive deeper into the abyss? "Courage is key," she whispered to herself, the words grounding her. She rose, retracing her steps just far enough to break the dark connection, then plunged forward again. "Show me," she shouted, her voice steadier this time, matched with the strength of her resolve. Moments later, the corridor opened up to a circular chamber, light flickering from crystals embedded in the walls. It felt otherworldly, almost breathtaking, the luminescence illuminating ancient symbols etched deep into the stone. But her relief was short-lived. The whispers rose again, this time vying for her attention. Each word seemed like a hook, each syllable sharp with intent. "The deeper you go," combined voices sang, "the brighter your true self becomes. But know this, every truth demands a sacrifice." Emma's stomach twisted. What would she have to pay? Fear gripped her. Yet, intrigue burned hotter. She had to uncover the truth behind these words. She stepped forward, her pulse thrumming louder than before, and pressed a hand against one of the glowing crystals. It reacted immediately, humming beneath her fingertips, sending vibrations coursing through her body. Images flashed behind her closed eyelids, faces of those who had come before her, lost in their quest for enlightenment. Hope intertwined with despair, their stories unfolding like a tattered map. The pull of the trap surged once more, hearts entwined. Emma opened her eyes wide, breath hitching as she understood. These were souls trapped by their own ambitions. She took a step back, panic rising anew. What if she didn't want to take that path? What if the truth wasn't worth the risk? Would she too be devoured by her desire for understanding? She stood at a crossroads, the air thick with tension, shadows swirling like angry waves around her. The figure blinked in and out of existence ahead of her, still taunting, still beckoning. Do you dare to find out? It whispered, breath ghosting across her skin. In that moment, Emma faced the ultimate question. Would she chase after enlightenment, knowing that one misstep could cost her everything? Or would she turn back, leaving the mysteries of the house behind? Determination ignited her fear, and she took a deep breath, ready to make her choice. Just then, a deep rumble shook the very chamber around her, and the walls began to crack, revealing a glowing passage beyond. The truth was within reach, but the danger had escalated. What awaited her on the other side? Would this path lead to salvation or doom? Only time would tell as she ventured into the unknown. Emma barely had time to register the rumble before the chamber shifted violently. The ground quaked beneath her feet, and rocks tumbled from the walls, showering her with dust and debris. Heart in her throat, she instinctively lunged toward the glowing passage as the shadows seethed around her. She felt the cold rush of air, intoxicating the senses as she reached the glowing entrance. It pulsed, inviting yet ominous, as though it held secrets that could either elevate her or shatter her being. Taking a deep breath, she pushed forward, stepping through the luminous threshold. The world flickered, and suddenly she was standing in a vast expanse filled with blinding light. The glowing crystals flared up all around her, brighter than before, illuminating a landscape that twisted and morphed, forests of shimmering trees, lakes of liquid silver, all draped in the strange ethereal glow. But beauty was deceptive. Emma's intuition screamed danger, whispers resumed, a haunting chorus echoing in her mind. You seek the truth, but it has a price. Are you prepared? As she moved deeper into the landscape, the floor shifted beneath her feet. Each step felt like the very ground tested her resolve, responding to her thoughts and fears. She stopped at a silver pool, its mirror surface trembling, reflecting not just her image but fragmented versions of herself, an artist, a mother, a teacher. Spirals of what could have been taunted her, casting shadows of regret. What do you want? She whispered, fighting the turmoil squirming in her chest. The surface shimmered, coalescing into a figure, a woman she barely recognized. You desire enlightenment, but to know me, you must first confront your darkness, the figure said, its voice low and sultry, like a smoky whisper. Emma's insides twisted. I don't have any darkness, she replied, but doubt seeped into her words. The twisted shadows she had encountered flickered in her mind. Could she really shake them off? You do, the figure cooed, reaching out with an outstretched hand that seemed to beckon her closer. What lies beneath your ambition? What secrets do you hold? The pool rippled, and for a moment, flashbacks flooded her mind, the injustice she witnessed, the choices she regretted, the burdens she bore. Each memory left her feeling hollow, cracking a mask she wore for the world. Why was truth so brutal? No, Emma gasped, stepping back instinctively. I can't face that. Face it, and you shall be free. Hide, and you will forever remain a shadow of your potential, the figure warned, the depth of its voice growing insistent, a swell of power washing over her. The sacrifice loomed larger than life. Could she truly confront what she had buried? The choice pressed down on her like the weight of the very house itself. Fear is a cage, it murmured, the echoes deepening in the luminous space. What if your greatest power lies in acceptance? Suddenly the ground trembled, the visions from the pool swirling violently as the brilliance dimmed. You have mere minutes. Choose, the apparition shouted. Each pulse of light beat like a frantic heart, matching her own racing pulse. Emma stood frozen, fighting to summon courage as the chamber quaked again. With every fleeting moment, The decision grew heavier, pulling her in two directions: the allure of escape or the undeniable pull of truth. As she grappled with her choice, the shadows surged, merging into a tempest that roared around her. What was waiting on the other side of her decision? Would she embrace the darkness or flee into the luminous unknown? With a scream that reverberated through the chaos, Emma was forced to decide before it was too late. Emma flinched as the shadows erupted around her, swirling like a storm, dark fingers reaching out as though to drag her down. The visions in the pool faded, replaced by a churning void that honed in on her worst fears. She felt the weight of each second, nothing but the throbbing in her chest, and the frenetic whispers that seemed to beckon her toward total darkness. What if she turned her back? What if she seized the opportunity to escape? But with that thought, a chill wrapped around her heart. The spectral figure in the pool had spoken truths that made her tremble. The truth reeked of bitterness and regret, and somehow its pull became irresistible. "Face your darkness, Emma." The voice echoed in her mind, drowning out her instincts to run. "You can't hide from yourself anymore." She could feel the ground shifting beneath her, almost like it understood her turmoil. Inside her, an unfamiliar fire sparked. It washed over her with a sudden clarity, a wild insistence to confront what she had buried for so long. "Enough!" she shouted, the word echoing in the brilliant light. Time didn't seem to stand still, but the chaos around her did. The shadows halted, swirling back just enough to grant her a moment, an opportunity. Taking a deep breath, she stepped closer to the pool, her reflection rippling. A flood of memories cascaded through her mind, and in a flash her past lay bare. Past injustices. The time she turned away instead of fighting back. A life full of missed chances, and each regret gnawed at her resolve. "I am not afraid of what lies within me," she proclaimed, forcing the words past the lump in her throat. "I will not be cowardly." The figure transformed again into her form, standing resolutely in the shimmering depths of liquid silver. "Then embrace me," it whispered, coaxing Emma into the depth of her fear. The pool roared, sending waves crashing against the walls of her consciousness. Shadows coiled and writhed at her feet, demanding her attention, but she held her ground. Memories rushed forth relentless. The faces she hurt, the paths she abandoned, the love she unlatched. She felt all of it, raw, deep, insistent. Suddenly the whispers crescendoed into a shriek. "You cannot run from what you are." With newfound determination, Emma pressed her hand against the pool's surface. A shock jolted through her, each image reconnecting ghosts of her past to the present. The whispers turned into solid truths as if they were laying bare the path she had to walk. "I will not allow you to define me," she said, steadying her voice. The energy surged between her and the figure. It pulled at her heart, spinning the tendrils of doubt like spider webs, but Emma felt herself unraveling the threads one by one. And then, as quickly as the chaos began, an eerie calm enveloped her. The brilliant light stretched across the expanse. She peered behind the veil. What could be, what she yearned for? "Do you see?" the figure whispered as its face crystallized, a serene smile radiating through. "Accept your shadows, wear them like armor. They don't speak defeat. They are lessons waiting to guide you." With each word, the specters surrounding Emma began to dissipate. Shadows flickered, then drifted away, replaced by phosphorescent light, reflecting her new resolve. In that moment, she realized darkness wasn't her enemy, it was part of her journey. But that realization was abruptly swallowed by the returning tremor of earth, a violent shudder coursing through the landscape. "What now?" she gasped, adrenaline flooding her veins. Could this newfound clarity withstand the looming threat? Suddenly, the atmosphere thickened. A deafening crack split the air. The ground beneath her buckled, threatening to swallow her whole once again. In the depths of it all, a code pulsated in her heart. Deeper than fear, was this the climax of her trial or merely the beginning of a darker path? As she steadied herself amid the chaos, she thought about why she had come here and whether she had enough strength to move forward. What lay ahead in the cascading unknown? Would she be able to rise into the light? Or would the shadows drag her under forever? The darkness twisted around her. It felt alive, as if it had a pulse. Emma's heart raced. With every tremor of the ground, she was reminded that she stood at the edge of something far more significant than herself. She felt exposed, but also strangely empowered by her decision to stand firm. The luminous presence of the pool flickered like a gentle heartbeat, urging her to embrace her decision, but the convulsing earth shouted otherwise. "Hold on!" she screamed as the earth heaved again. Pieces of gravel shot up like cannon fire. A deep rumble echoed through the air, drowning out her voice, drowning out everything. If she wanted to survive, she had to act. With sheer determination, Emma shifted her weight, preparing for the inevitable upheaval. The shadows still lingered like predators waiting for her next move, their whispers turning into taunts. "You believe you can withstand us? You think you can move forward away from what you have always been?" Clenching her fists, Emma thought of her past, of the dreams she had let slip away, the relationships she had failed to nurture, the darkness she had allowed to fester inside her. Each regret lit up in her mind like a firework in the night. A jagged crack opened beneath her. She stumbled, fear snaking its way back. But somewhere behind that terror was a flicker of hope. "This is not who I am," she shouted, wading through the swirling fears. She focused on the figure in the pool, the one that resembled her, the one that represented redemption. "Embrace your shadows," the figure shouted back over the roaring chaos. "Understand them. Only then can you break through." The words hit her like a physical blow. Emma let them wash over her, turning her inward. She thought of all those choices. Was it cowardice that held her? Or a deeper fear that she was never enough? The shadows tightened around her, their whispers a cacophony, but one thought stood out. She had always feared she was unworthy. She squared her shoulders and took a step toward the pool. "You do not define me. You are a part of my story, but you are not the author." With that declaration, the ground trembled even harder, as if testing her resolve. She looked into her own reflective eyes in the pool, and saw something that made her pulse quicken. A flicker of power reflected back at her, a promise of strength she once denied. Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar erupted as the shadows lunged at her. They shot forward, tendrils of darkness sweeping through the air, seeking to ensnare her. Emma gasped as they closed in, but instead of backing down, she pulled in her breath, gathering the light that had begun to surround her. "No!" The shadows howled, repelled by her conviction. As she spread her arms wide, illuminated by the glow around her, she envisioned each regret morphing into something tangible, an armor she could wear instead of fear. Then the ground cracked one last time, but this time it opened a pathway, a vortex swirling with radiant light. A whirlwind of energy churned at her feet, beckoning her closer. "Emma!" The figure in the pool called, its voice a mixture of desperation and encouragement. "This is your chance. You have to leap into the light. You must." But doubt loomed like a storm cloud in the back of her mind. Would it be the end or a beginning? "I can do this," she whispered, adrenaline shooting through her like electricity. And as she prepared to leap, she caught a glimpse of the shadows writhing furiously, their whispers turning to shrieks. "Just one step back and we'll have you again," they hissed, clawing with shadows that became sharp and fierce. But what would she lose if she didn't leap? Would the light truly envelop her? Or would the darkness win this time? With one final breath, Emma steeled herself, ready to plunge into the unknown. Would she break through to the other side or be consumed by what she feared most? In that moment, everything felt like it hung in the balance. Would she transform or be trapped in limbo forevermore? Emma took a deep breath, the air electric with uncertainty. The shadows snarled, their claws snatching at her, their whispers seeping into her mind. "You think you can escape us? We are your fears. We are your regrets. You can't run from yourself." But the light from the swirling vortex below pulsed, a siren song calling her name. Ignoring the shadows clawing at her ankles, she forced her legs to move. She was tired of being paralyzed by what-ifs and maybes. "Just leap," she yelled, her voice echoing through the chaotic space. Emma launched herself into the shining void. The world blurred around her. Everything became a whirlwind, a kaleidoscope of colors all merging into one brilliant white light that enveloped her. Gravity shifted. She felt weightless, suspended between fear and freedom. But then the brilliant light flickered. A gut-wrenching pull shot through her, as if she were being yanked in two directions at once. The darkness roared, slashing at her with icy tendrils, tethering her back to the very spot she had fought so hard to escape. "No!" Emma screamed, her voice trembling. Panic clawed at her throat like a vengeful beast. She could feel doubt's familiar grip tightening around her chest, squeezing out all the confidence she'd just found. What if this was just another trap? Images flickered in the abyss: her childhood home, faces of friends when she hadn't shown up, a neglected dream of becoming a writer. Each revelation pierced through the haze of light, pulling her deeper into the shadows. Feel that tug? A voice rasped from the darkness. It was the unrelenting chant of her fears, swirling around her. You belong here. You are nothing without us. You'll fail again. She gritted her teeth. Stop it. Emma roared against the voices. As she clung to her resolution, the light surged like a tidal wave, crashing against the shadows. At that moment something shifted. The grasp of fear loosened just for a heartbeat. She could feel the weight of her past ready to wash away. I won't let you go. A primal instinct surged within her. She wrenched free from the specters, kicking toward the vortex with everything she had. In a blinding burst, she broke through, landing hard on solid ground. Shaking, Emma gazed around. Before her, the world transformed into a breathtaking landscape, drenched in vibrant colors. The pool shimmered brilliantly, a gateway of possibilities beckoning with every glimmer. But then, a familiar growl emerged from the shadows behind her. They slinked out, their forms grotesque and swirling. A battle between the dark and light reflecting back through the shimmering surface. You think it ends here? Emma turned, heart racing. You won't take me again. I am what you fear, what you regret, and what you must confront. They hissed, their claws extending, shaping into her own insecurities. An icy chill flooded her veins. Would this be another round of the same nightmare? She had escaped the confines of darkness once, but now it felt like they were closing in tighter. The illusions felt real. The shadows spun illusions of unworthiness, pulling her apart from within. She staggered backward. No, I can't. I won't. Suddenly the pool pulsed again, resonating with her inner turmoil. Look into me, Emma. See what you really are. But how could she? The shadows growled louder, forming walls around her. Would she break free, or be sucked back into the night? Time slowed as Emma's choices solidified around her, each second a heartbeat echoing her fears. Will you embrace or deny your truth? The question hung thick in the air, leaving her breathless and teetering on the edge of despair. Caught between two worlds, Emma faced the pool once more. What would she choose? Could she truly confront the darkness within her? Just as she was about to step forward, a piercing scream erupted. It was a voice she hadn't expected, a sound echoing wildly from the shadows. Emma! Save me! The realization hit her like a thunderbolt. Someone else was trapped too. Who? And why did they sound so familiar? As the shadows swirled in a frenzy around her, she had to make a choice, to face her own fears or race toward the unknown, risking everything to save another. The weight of that decision lingered, pressing against her soul. Would she reveal her own light, or be swallowed whole once more? Emma felt her heart race as she searched frantically for the source of the cry. Who are you? She shouted, her voice trembling yet resolute. The shadows writhed around her, thick and dark, but she strained to focus on the faint outline emerging from the depths. Emma! Help me! It was so familiar, too familiar. It pierced through her mind like a dagger, and memories flooded back in an overwhelming rush. Lily? She whispered, disbelief tightening her throat. Her childhood friend, the one she lost in the chaos of her own insecurities, was trapped in the same torment. The shadows flickered as if their very essence was woven into her memories of loss and guilt. Yes, I'm here. Please, you have to. Lily's voice faltered, caught in a sharp gasp as the shadows drew closer, suffocating her hope. Every instinct screamed at Emma to race forward, to reach for her friend. But the shadows surged, morphing into twisted forms of doubt, fear and regret, all too familiar, all too real. They whispered, taunting her, you think you can save her? You can't even save yourself. No, Emma shouted, her breath hitching as she felt their icy fingers crawl over her skin. I won't let you take her. With newfound determination, she stepped closer to the shimmering pool. It pulsed with a vibrant energy that flickered like a heartbeat, a call to the light within her. Look into the truth, Emma. Bring her back. Came the echo from the pool. Gritting her teeth, she reached out toward it. The water shimmered, swirling with images of laughter, warmth, and the bond they had once shared. Every joyful memory brought her closer, and she could almost hear Lily's laughter overlapping the shadow's whispers. Suddenly the darkness erupted, enveloping Emma in a cloud of despair. The illusions morphed, dragging her down into the depths. "You're not worthy," they jeered, clenching tight around her throat. But she felt something fierce inside her, a spark of defiance igniting her voice. "I am worthy," she screamed, summoning every ounce of strength. "I am not defined by my past. I will break this cycle." With that, she dove headfirst into the pool, the cold water wrapping around her. The shadows screeched, clawing at her halting progress, but she twisted and turned, her vision blurring. And then her fingers burst through the surface, grasping blindly for the light inside. "Lily!" she screamed again, feeling her friend's presence pulling her into the depths. The shadows howled, smothering their bond, but Emma would not relent. She had to confront it. Clenching her fists, she focused on the warmth of their friendship, the laughter they once shared. As the light from her memories swirled around her, the shadows recoiled, shrieking in agony. A blinding flash erupted, the light bursting into 1,000 pieces as if to shatter the darkness surrounding them. Together, Emma and Lily emerged from the chaos, a powerful force of spirit against the relentless night. Eyes wide, Emma turned to see her friend's face, pale but steady, trapped just as deep in the murky waters of despair. "Emma, I thought I lost you," Lily breathed, her voice trembling. "No, you're not lost." Reaching out, Emma grasped her hand tightly. "We can break free together." But as they clung to each other, the shadows swirled violently, morphing once again into twisted forms, familiar shapes that harbored secrets of betrayal and despair. "Your bond can't save you," they shrieked. "You cannot escape your truth." Emma felt her resolve waver as memories of past failures surged again. What if this was just another false freedom, another way to be ensnared? With the shadows clawing at them, Emma's heart raced. She had come so far, but at what cost? If she let go, would she lose Lily forever? The pool pulsed, its glow flickering in harmony with their thoughts. Emma couldn't help but wonder. Was it a path to hope? Or yet another trap? "Emma!" Lily's voice cut through her swirling doubts. "We need to fight." And as the darkness closed in, Emma took a breath, preparing for battle. Would she confront the shadows one final time, ready to confront the truth of her fears, or would the darkness win once more? The choice hung over them like a storm cloud, thick with tension. She could feel it deep within. The moment of truth was about to unfold. The shadows twisted, whispering dark threats that sent shivers through Emma's spine. "You think it will be that easy?" they hissed, their voices a haunting chorus that echoed through the water. The air thickened, pressing against her chest, as if trying to snuff out her very spirit. "Fight, Emma," Lily urged, her voice strained but steady. The pressure from the shadows tightened, making it hard to breathe, hard to hold on. As desperation consumed her, Emma felt the warmth of their memories searing through the coldness around her. Sleepovers filled with giggles, long summer days chasing fireflies, and secrets traded in the sweet, safe haven of their friendship. The spark inside her flickered, fueled by love. But just as she thought they could break free, the shadows surged again, a tide of despair crashing against their bond. "Don't listen to the lies," Lily shouted, her grip tightening around Emma's hand. "We are stronger than this darkness." With each distracting illusion, doubts clawed at Emma's mind. What if Lily had truly been lost, a victim of her own turmoil? What if the darkness swirling around them was the truth she had buried deep, the truth she feared? "Let us help you," the shadows cried, suddenly softening their voices, wrapping around them in a deceptive calm. "You can join them. You can be free from your burdens." Emma's resolve wavered. She remembered the mistakes she had made, the times she hadn't been there for Lily, the moments of weakness when she opted for isolation instead of connection. The darkness was right, wasn't it? "No," she yelled, shaking her head furiously. "I won't accept that." The words echoed defiantly, cutting through the dark, smothering their connection. Suddenly, the pool shimmered bright, bathing them in an ethereal light. The shadows shrieked, recoiling as if burned by the dawning brightness. "Hold on, Emma," Lily shouted, her face illuminated by the light. "We can do this together." Emma felt the warmth of her friend's presence wrapping around her heart, amidst the chaotic backdrop of their nightmare. Together they had once chased away fears with laughter, and she could summon that strength now. They were bonded, not by the past, but by a shared resolve that could shatter the darkness. "I believe in us," Emma cried, her voice ringing out through the abyss. With a fierce yell, she pushed forward, gripping Lily's hand tighter as they dove deeper into the glowing pool. The shadows lunged, clawing at them, but they surged ahead, hearts synchronized in purpose. Light engulfed them completely, illuminating every memory, every moment they shared. Then, in a deafening silence, they broke through the surface, emerging into a luminous world bathed in golden light. They gasped, lungs filled with radiant energy. But that tranquility was short-lived. A sudden rumble broke the peace, vibrations pulsing through the ground beneath them. The serene light flickered ominously, and Emma realized it was fading, the shadows creeping back like a tide threatening to engulf their newfound sanctuary. "Emma!" Lily shouted, frantic. "Something's wrong. We need to go back." Emma's heart raced as she scanned the shimmering horizon. In the distance stood a twisted silhouette, a shadow alone yet watching them intently. Was it a part of their past? A new threat? "I don't know where to go. We can't go back," Emma cried, panic choking her words. The darkness encroached rapidly, swallowing the light. In that moment everything shifted. The world around them began to crumble, as if it was disintegrating into fragments of lost hope. Just then, a voice echoed in the distance, deep and commanding. "You think you can escape? Oh, there is a higher price to pay." Both Emma and Lily turned towards the sound, their breaths hitching. The realization hit them like a wall. They were not just fighting for their freedom. They were battling something far more sinister. A dark presence loomed, ready to claim them. As the light dimmed, Emma felt the weight of the shadows pressing closer, their forms shifting and morphing into faces from her past, specters of fear and regret. Would she find the strength to confront this new terror alongside Lily, or would their escape end in darkness forever? The choice loomed large, the shadows curling around them like a predator ready to strike. The moment had come. Would they survive this harrowing trial, or be consumed by the very fears they had fought so hard to escape? Emma and Lily stood united, trembling but resolute as the shadows closed in around them. The faces of the past twisted in the darkness, their voices rising in a dissonant chorus, echoing every insecurity and failure. "You think you can outrun us?" they taunted, their cold breath brushing against the girl's skin. "You're bound to these memories, forever shackled." "No," Emma shouted, her voice cutting through the cacophony. "We aren't what we fear." The words tumbled from her lips, fierce and unwavering, as she felt the heat of Lily's hand firmly gripping her own. Together they dug their heels into the ground, drawing strength from one another. The memories that once suffocated them now began to solidify into a shield. Lily took a deep breath, her eyes fierce. "We can break this cycle. We can face them together." Their voices combined resonated through the oppressive energy, forging a spark of defiance against the encroaching dark. As the shadows clawed closer, Emma raised her chin defiantly. "What you hold over us is only power if we allow it to be." The words ignited a flame within her, illuminating the swirling darkness. Bright, radiant energy surged around her, enveloping both girls as they stood their ground. They channeled all their fears, doubts, and regrets into a blazing light, forging it into a weapon against the darkness. The shadows faltered, their grip loosening, voices faltering into chaos. But the twisted figure loomed larger, a palpable weight in the air. "You think you can wield that light? It will only lead to your destruction," it bellowed, a sneer carved into its shadowy visage. "No." Emma stood taller, eyes narrowing as she pushed forward. "We won't let fear control our minds any longer. You're just echoes of the past, mere illusions." The light glowed brighter, illuminating the landscape as memories transformed into visions of hope, courage, and joy shared with loved ones. Each laugh, each moment of support, filled Emma's heart with warmth. Lily chimed in, her voice steady and true. "We are the sum of our choices, not just our mistakes. We refuse to remain entangled in twisted memories." Together they unleashed a pulse of defiance, a surge of light that bent and twisted around the malevolent figure. "You don't have power over us anymore." The realization hit them both like a tidal wave. The very darkness they feared was, in fact, a part of their journey. They had the strength to reshape their own narratives. With unified resolve, they turned their faces to the encroaching shadows they once thought would overwhelm them. They charged forward, hands firmly clasped, leading the way with light that thrummed like a living heartbeat. "We choose life," they shouted, voices blending in an anthem of empowerment. Emma felt her heart thundering with each earthquake of courage, resonating through her being. As they collided into the very essence of the swirling shadows, a blinding flash erupted, the darkness shrieked, a fearsome wail that resonated with the souls it sought to claim, but the luminous light pierced through it fiercely, refracting and scattering the dark like smoke in the wind. In those moments, with every ounce of their strength, they tore through the veil, and like a weight sliding from their shoulders, the shadows fractured, disintegrating into silvery dust, leaving only the shimmering glow of the pool behind. Emma and Lily fell backward, landing breathless in a breathtaking expanse of vibrant colors washing over them. The air pulsed with warmth and freedom, tangling in their hair like laughter. "We did it," Lily gasped, glancing around at their surroundings, which were filled with radiant light and lush greenery that promised a future filled with possibilities. Hope surged within them, washing away the remnants of the dark as if it were merely an unsettling dream. But Emma felt something surge around her heart, a foreboding sense of responsibility. "Even here we must continue facing our truths, mustn't we?" Lily nodded, eyes wide and shining. "Together we will. We face the shadows, and we can face whatever comes next." They stood hand in hand, gazing into the brilliant expanse. They understood the path to enlightenment wasn't devoid of darkness. Rather, it weaved perfectly as part of the tapestry of becoming whole, for light shines brightest when darkest shadows challenge it. They turned their backs on the fading remnants of the abyss, ready to step into a future that felt bright and blessed. With shared hearts they walked forward into their next adventure, the whispers of the past fading sweetly into the soundtrack of their lives. And as they moved toward what lay beyond, determination flourished in their souls. "Keep moving," Emma whispered, not just to Lily but as a promise to herself. "We will keep moving." As dawn broke over the colorful horizon, casting golden rays above them, Emma felt the weight lift from her heart, realizing they were free. True freedom awaited in their journey ahead. This was just the beginning. And as we conclude this story, remember what Emma and Lily discovered: standing against your shadows can usher in light like never before. You don't have to face darkness alone. Stand tall, face your fears, and let them guide you. But wait. Before you go, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss any more exclusive stories. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm. Let us reach out and connect. Flood the comments with your thoughts and theories about this ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes all the difference. Thank you, and see you in the next story.